RPTV Weekly News Show. My name is Jabin, and my co-hosts are Victoria, Kedar, Allanis, Miguel, and Fred. We present news that impacts on Regent Park and the surrounding areas.
In this episode, we present the following news for the week November 22nd to November 29th, 2022. National Housing Day Rally, Build Social Housing Now. Report of Regent Park SDP Employment and Economic Development Monthly Meeting. Native Earth celebrates annual Indigenous Work Festival Weesageechak Begins to Dance 35. City of Toronto Archives hosts Black Women in Leadership Photography Exhibition. Swedish Christmas Fair 2022 takes place in Regent Park. Toronto's food banks are at crisis level, say authors of 2022 Who's Hungry report. Toronto Police appeal for info about outstanding assault suspect as more victims come forward. Social isolation on the rise while civic engagement has dropped in Toronto, study finds. COVID-19 vaccination and wellness clinics in the neighborhood. Events and jobs in Regent Park community.
National Housing Day Rally. The Shelter and Housing Justice Network called for a mass rally on November 22nd, 2022 at David Crombie Park at the corner of Sherbourne and Esplanade, where roughly 150 people gathered to send a loud message to all levels of government to build social housing now. The event had lunch, had speakers, performers, and much more. Housing in Canada is deeply unaffordable, and the crisis escalates every day. Across the country, people are being priced out of rental stock, losing their housing and sleeping in tents, bus shelters, and ravines because they cannot access housing or shelter. In Toronto, a state of emergency ensues. 80,000 households are on the waiting list for social housing, while 138 people a day are denied access to emergency shelters because shelters are at capacity. In 2021, the December Toronto Homeless Memorial recorded the highest number of homeless deaths per month to date. Despite the dangerous shortage of shelter spaces and the dire lack of affordable housing, the city is planning to close shelter hotels and continue to attack and displace encampment residents. RPTV News was at the National Housing Day Rally. Let's hear what the community have to say.
Housing for Indigenous people is an actual concrete step towards reconciliation, and we're demanding that the feds will fund a rapid housing initiative for the next 5 years at the very least to allow the City of Toronto to purchase and expropriate property in order to build social housing. That's right. We're also demanding that the province step up. We're demanding that they provide money to keep all of the hotel shelter programs open. We're demanding that they increase ODSP and OW rates immediately. We're demanding that they fund shelters for survivors of gender-based violence so that there is space for everyone who's fleeing violence. We are demanding an immediate investment in supportive, transitional, and long-term affordable housing to address the bottleneck faced by shelters. We're also demanding that Ford stop talking about building on the Greenbelt and blaming it on immigrants. Yeah, ridiculous. And at the city, we're making demands at city level. So this morning, Mayor Tory apparently announced that it's National Housing Day. Hello, we all knew because we're all gathered here, right? Mayor Tory has been full of empty promises, and we're demanding that the city step up. We're demanding that the city, if the mayor really cares about National Housing Day, we're demanding that they stop encampment evictions. We're demanding that they stop criminalizing people who are poor, who are sleeping outside. We're demanding that they stop spending millions on private security to just patrol parks. We're demanding that the city ends the planned closure of hotel shelters that's going to displace so many people. And we're also demanding that the city add an additional 2,700 non-congregate spaces to the shelter system. In case you missed it, the city's winter plan says that they're going to add more beds to the shelter system by putting beds closer together, as if COVID were not a thing. That is simply shameful. So these demands that we're making to all levels of government that you are all here to stand alongside with, these are literal life and death demands.
Now, brother, can't you see you're beautiful? But you're too damn young. This is for the politicians, this next verse. Leaders of the world, yeah, listen to what I say, 'cause I know you can hear me, and you see what I say. Incarceration is not the solution. Let's address the problem. Young people suffering.
Why is there still no admission acknowledgement of this crisis by any level of government? Why does this city's winter plan not contain anything to offset the closing of the shelter hotels, which in the first place shouldn't be happening, other than the plan to cram more people into dormitory-style shelters against the guidance of their own public health consultants? Only 2 warming centers across the city? I actually have no words for that. Also, for any existing remaining social housing that is available, the barriers to accessing it are many. If a person cannot produce photo ID, up-to-date notice of assessment from their taxes, they are deemed not housing ready. Even community workers who can verify the identity of someone and show that these things are being worked on, often that is not enough, and a person is denied even the option to apply. The remaining social housing resources are less and less available to community partners, and in many cases, a person actually has to be able to access a shelter space to even be part of a system that now dictates who can even apply for housing. That's a terrible shame. These new rules and decisions are being made without consultation with community and, most importantly, with the people who are currently without housing. The most disheartening and raging part is that there are solutions. We heard Lorraine make a list of demands, which if were enacted immediately would go a long way to creating solutions to the crisis. If all levels of government began investing in developing and building affordable social housing years ago, we would not be where we are today. There is a saying that it shouldn't have to happen to you for it to matter to you. I feel, unfortunately, we live in times where, in fact, many people are desensitized to and disconnected from the fact that so many people are without housing, especially those with the power and influence to make changes for the better. Thank you all for being here today and knowing that it does matter, because it's a reflection of us, who we are as a city, a community, and a society, and it should matter to us all. Thank you. Miigwech.
Regent Park SDP Employment and Economic Development Monthly Meeting. The Regent Park Social Development Plan is a community-wide initiative aimed at building social cohesion and inclusion. The plan revolves around 4 priority areas, each represented by a working committee. The 4 working groups are communication, safety, community building, and employment and economic development. On November 15th, 2022, the Regent Park SDP Employment and Economic Development held its monthly meeting at the Daniel Spectrum Community Living Room. The 2 key presenters were on hand. The first was Varda Puri, a community outreach worker from the Anti-Racism Action Project, ARAP, presented a short talk that combined a needs assessment survey designed to determine area residents' experiences related to racism. The second speaker was Depars Cottrell from the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. The Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce is a cultural non-profit organization formed as a Chamber of Commerce. It was created to generate commerce for Black-owned businesses and entrepreneurs to create economic development within our proud Black communities across Canada. The organization was created and incorporated in 2018. In his presentation, Depars outlined some of the most significant opportunities offered by the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, programs tailored to meet the needs of young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, senior program, construction and trades, and international trades, with a focus on Black participants. This particular aspect of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce's mandate is integral to their mission to help Black businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups to succeed in an environment that has historically been white-centered.
We have 7 different programs available for you. These programs, what they're going to do is to help you elevate your entrepreneurship and help elevate your business. How many of us here today have a business or want to start a business? So we have a lot of opportunities, and we like to say ourselves as a voice. That's why we're here in this community, to talk to you guys face to face. We are not hiding in buildings. We are not hiding behind veils or not showing up. We are right here in your face to let you guys know that we are here to help you. I'm gonna say it again. We're here to help you. Right? And we're going to be a resource for that. We have 90-day programs, and this is the first one, which is the Avro Business Accelerator. For any founder who's at the basics of running a business, if they're just starting, if your business is in your head and you see the potential of it growing, if you have an idea and you want to come talk to us about how viable that idea is to become a business, this is the program that starts you. The next program, once you get out of that, is the business writing program. The next one up, I like to call this one the gateway towards financial freedom. It's the personal financial literacy program. The next program that we have is the Propel Mastermind program. So this program is actually for our firms who already have 100,000 in sales. Anybody with already sales revenue in their business? No problem. This program would be there once you get to that stage where we hook you up with a mentor and we help you to navigate towards getting to that platform and beyond. Because we actually want to get you to the next part, which is the next million. So in the mentor protege program, for those firms who's already in between that 100,000, 500,000, we want to get you to the first million. And we have about 20 or 22 people in this cohort already that we're helping get to their first million in sales for their company. We want to be able to come here and help you guys out with that too. The Masterclass series is the last program we'll talk about today. It's a sessioned out program where we bring in some of the hottest minds, some of the brightest minds across North America to come talk to you about leadership, about goals, about planning, and about running a business.
Native Earth celebrates annual Indigenous Work Festival Weesageechak Begins to Dance 35. Native Earth celebrated the 35th edition of Weesageechak Begins to Dance Festival on November 10th to 20th, 2022. This year's festival gathered over 15 artists from across Turtle Island to develop and showcase contemporary Indigenous performances, both online and in person, at the Haque studio located at 585 Dundas Street East in Regent Park. The event had conversations about artistic process, excerpts from new work in development, musical performances, a mini pop-up market, and more. Everyone was welcome to join the celebration of vibrant, new Indigenous theater, a dance, and multidisciplinary creations.
My name is Himanshu Sitlani, and I'm the Managing Director at Native Earth Performing Arts. It's the 35th edition of the Weesageechak Festival, and we're really, really excited about it because it's also Native Earth's 40th season. So we have a whole bunch of shows happening in different genres. We have music, we have burlesque, we have theater pieces, we have dance pieces. So it's a really exciting festival this year.
How is this festival important to Regent Park community and beyond?
I think it's really important for the community with all the changes that's going around. Indigenous stories are something that it needs to be said, and I think there's no better place than to share it with the Regent Park community.
Was an artistic associate at Native Earth Performing Arts when they moved into Regent Park. They had had offices in the distillery before taking over the Haque Studio Theatre where we are. And I saw a sign, and it was the 25th Weesageechak Begins to Dance Festival that first year, and now it's the 35th. So 10 years of being in this community and calling this home. I think it's incredible the way in which an Indigenous performing arts company can center both the ongoing stewards of this land and Indigenous folks from all over Turtle Island and the globe. This particular festival is bringing Jeanette all the way from the West Coast. And to be within this community that's seeing such great change in this decade, while centering indigeneity, I think it's an important role that this company has, and it's a vital company in the city, and it gets to be right here in Regent Park.
Yeah, so as Cole said, I'm not a local artist here. I'm visiting from Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh territory, colonially known as Vancouver. So I'm a little bit familiar with Regent Park, though, because I've attended this festival as a solo artist. This will be my third time, and I've also attended the festival as a dancer in other people's work. So I I think it is important for us to gather, and that's what's always drawn me to this festival of gathering with peers and friends and colleagues and other Indigenous artists that are sharing their voices and creating new work, which is just, it always feels like a practice of resiliency. And since it's our first time gathering back at the festival, it's an important time for us to be together and to support each other's practices. Cole also sat in for my tech rehearsal yesterday and is also housing me. So there's lots of ways that are, we share each other's. We share each other's light and encourage each other to do what we're doing. So thank you.
City of Toronto Archives hosts Black Women in Leadership Photography Exhibition. The City of Toronto Archives, in partnership with BAND, Black Artist Networks and Dialogue, Gallery and Cultural Center, presents Black Women in Leadership, an exhibition featuring portraits of 40 Black women leaders by 4 Toronto-based visual artists, Janice Reed, Jayla Jate, John Black, and Patricia Ella. Black Women in Leadership celebrates and highlights contributions from Black women leaders across various sectors, including arts and culture, business, health and wellness, and activism. These women have led and continue to inspire change in their communities and have paved the way for the next generation of Black women leaders through community involvement and advocacy. This groundbreaking exhibition reveals little known as well as renowned stories of successful women, all told through the eyes of 4 photographers whose creative backgrounds capture the essence of each of the featured women. In 2021, a selection of these portraits was displayed at pop-up locations across Toronto as part of the public art celebration Big Art TO. Now you can see the full exhibition showcasing all 40 portraits of Black women in leadership. The exhibition is free and will run until August 2023 at the Toronto Archives, 255 Spadina Road, open to the public weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Swedish Christmas Fair 2022 in Regent Park. On November 19th to 20th, 2022, the Swedish Christmas Fair 2022, hosted by SWE, Toronto took place in Regent Park at 585 Dundas Street East. The Swedish Christmas Fair attracts thousands of people each year who come to experience Swedish Christmas food, design, folk art, crafts, and traditions. The admission was free. The community enjoyed Swedish food at the cafe, the Lucia procession, the Swedish folk dancers and singers, the book corners, and the vast selection of Swedish design products and folk art for sale.
Hi, my name is Lisa Kwana Mateo, and I'm the president of Svea Toronto, which is, of course, who organizes this Christmas fair every year. We bring in thousands of people every year to this Christmas fair. So I think it's just nice for people to see this beautiful community and come in, and I think it's good for Regent Park to have a nice cultural event that's free, that everybody can come and the Regent Park people can experience some Swedish culture and traditions. So I think it's a win-win for both of our communities.
Toronto's food banks are at crisis levels, say authors of 2022 Who's Hungry report. Toronto is in the midst of an urban food security crisis, says the CEO of Canada's largest food bank. Neil Hetherington of Daily Bread Food Bank said prior to April 2020, his organization saw 60,000 client visits a month, a number he said doubled during the pandemic. Last month, 190,000 people sought help from the Daily Bread, Hetherington said, adding by next summer that monthly number could hit 250,000. We are in a crisis, and the difficulty is we also know the way out of this crisis. We just need to make sure that we have the leadership and the actions to be able to make those changes, he said. Today, the Daily Bread and North York Harvest Food Banks released their annual Who's Hungry 2022 report, which showed that over the last 12 months, visits to Toronto's food banks hit 1.99 million. If demand continues at that rate, that figure is expected to top more than 2 million by year's end. The report, which analyzed data from April 2021 to March 2022, found that food bank visits in Toronto were up by 16% year over year, from 1.45 million to 1.68 million. Month after month, we keep seeing the impact of insufficient incomes combined with inflation and rising costs of living lead to record-breaking numbers, Hetherington said. The need for food banks is at crisis levels with no signs of slowing down. Moreover, food banks are seeing more new clients each month, and those visiting are experiencing more severe levels of food insecurity. On average, they are also younger and more likely to be employed. The Who's Hungry report also found that rent is eating up a huge portion of most clients' incomes, with almost 20% saying they have zero money left over after paying for housing. 87% of clients said they cannot afford to eat and keep a roof over their head, which puts them at real risk of becoming homeless. Furthermore, the number of seniors accessing food banks is on the rise from 1 in 10 to now 6 in 10. Almost 30% of seniors said they sometimes or often don't have enough to eat. Close to 90% of senior clients reported living in housing they consider unaffordable. The report's authors are calling for guaranteed income security, the elimination of systemic poverty, solutions to Toronto's housing affordability crisis, and mitigation of the steep increases in the cost of living.
Toronto police appeal for info about outstanding assault suspect as more victims come forward. Several additional victims have come forward after police made a public appeal for information about a man accused of assaulting and harassing women. Police alleged 25-year-old Moses Gregory of Toronto contacted a number of women between the ages of 25 and 27 via social media, including Instagram. The women all live either downtown or in the city's East End. Investigators said that Gregory is known to frequent the Moss Park and Allen's Gardens area. He is described to be 5'7", 145 pounds, with dark complexion and short curly hair. People are asked not to approach Gregory and instead to call 911 immediately. Anyone with information about this investigation should contact the police at 416-808-5100 or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 416-222-8477.
Social isolation on the rise while civic engagement has dropped in Toronto, study finds. Civic engagement among Torontonians has fallen markedly in recent years, while the proportion of city residents who feel socially isolated has risen. That's according to the Toronto Social Capital Study 2022, a sweeping report that explores how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the well-being of people who live in the city through a wide range of perspectives. The experience of the COVID-19 pandemic put communities around the world under tremendous stress. In the city of Toronto, the pandemic created widespread economic hardship while limiting opportunities for residents to connect with family, friends, neighbors, and organizations, the study says. The report is based on results from a survey of 4,163 people aged 18 and older in Toronto. A key takeaway from the survey is that civic engagement in the city has dropped markedly since 2018. Participation declined most significantly in sports and recreation organizations, cultural organizations, and union and professional associations, the study found. And that effect was most pronounced in those aged 55 and older. These declines in group participation are concerning because group participation is associated with many other positive outcomes, the report reads. People who participate in groups have higher life satisfaction, more trust in society and others, have more people they can rely on, and have broader social networks. Similarly, nearly every demographic group surveyed said that they were less interested in local politics than in 2018. The effect was strongly tied to income, the study says, with the lowest earners least politically engaged. Toronto's municipal election in October saw record low turnout when roughly 29% of the eligible voters cast a ballot. That was down from about 41% in 2018 and more than 60% in 2014. The report makes a number of recommendations, including for Torontonians who want to be civically engaged to join a group outside their typical social circle support local arts and sporting events, and donate to charities and community groups whenever possible.
COVID-19 vaccination and wellness clinics in the neighborhood. Walk-in wellness hubs, COVID-19 and flu vaccination at 40 Oak Street. You can get vaccinated 3 to 6 months after the last dose of COVID-19 infection, every Saturday from 9:30 to 12:30 p.m. and Thursdays from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Catch up on adult and childhood immunization, blood pressure, and measurement, and connect with the Regent Park Community Health Center. Staff to explore referral options for primary care provider, cancer screening, diabetes, dentistry, access to naloxone kits, after-school support for students, housing, food security, settlement, employment, and more. For more information and book appointment, leave a message at 416-364-2261, extension 2306. And now Fred with events and jobs in Regent Park.
Thank you. And now for events and jobs in Regent Park community. Changing Cultures of Regent Park, a multimedia final exhibition. University of Toronto and Focus Media Arts Centre invites you to join an evening with the University of Toronto Urban Studies students and Regent Park residents, which have been working together throughout the fall 2022 to build an understanding of the neighborhood. Together, they have developed multimedia projects showcasing their research. The event will have the participants' final presentations, discussion, and refreshment. When? December 8th, 2022, Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. at Focus Media Arts Center, Daniel Spectrum, 3rd floor, 585 Dundas Street East. Go to the link below or scan the QR code. If you have questions, contact info@focusmediaarts.ca. Join the National Day of Remembrance and Action to Stop Violence Against Women online event, Shaping Our Futures Throughout Allyship and Action, exploring the financial crisis, mental health, and gender-based violence. The community event will be held on Zoom this Tuesday, December 6, 2022, from 3:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. There will be entertainment, speakers, panel, breakout rooms, and resource sharing. Hope to see you there. Regent Park Forever, Regent Park Film Festival, is celebrating its 20th anniversary with free and accessible indoor screenings from December 7th to 10th, 2022. Project Hope is back for its holiday drive in support of Afghan families coming into the GTA communities this season. From November 14th to December 14th, Project Hope is collecting new toys for children of all ages, school and baby essentials, hygiene products, shampoo, deodorant, etc. Gift card donations are also encouraged and will be given directly to the Afghan refugees. You can drop off donations at 51 Division. For more information, please contact police officers Mustafa Popalsai and Farsad Godby. And now for jobs and training opportunities. Would you like to work for Park Forestry and Recreation? Parks Forestry and Recreation presents Building Skills Through Recreation, Pathway to Youth Employment. Get support with resume development, written assessments, and interviewing skills. Certifications guaranteed. Interview for available jobs. For more information, contact iafra@ysm.ca or call 647-717-2437. Building Up, sign up for a career in the trades today. 16-week paid pre-apprenticeship program. 8 weeks in class in our private training center plus 8 weeks on site. Earn $15.15 an hour while you learn. 85% graduates while you learn. 85% graduates have been placed in trade careers. Online info session on January 9th, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. Program starts on January 23rd, 2023. For more information, contact Melissa at melissa.savone@buildingup.ca. Mental Health Matters. Join the Regent Park Youth Support Group starting January every Friday and from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at Daniel Spectrum, 3rd floor. Must be 17 to 25 years old and limited spots available. Learn more about mental health, the stigmatizing, learn how to cope with stress and anxiety, receive free counseling from a therapist, get the opportunity to network and make connections. Free halal meals at every session and $125 honorarium. Learn the benefits of journaling and actions plan. If you have questions, contact Mental Health Matters 341@gmail.com.
And that's all for today's show. My name is Victoria. My co-hosts are Jabin, Fred, Kedar, Allanis, and Miguel. We also like to thank our team of researchers that contributed for this week's show, and from our studios at Focus Media Arts Center. Thanks for watching and see you next week.
forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out all of our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.
Thank you.